Hi, my name is Snigdha Nautiyal and I'm a clinical psychologist and an executive coach also. Last year I went through the internship program, the first module, and since then I have had some questions in my mind about the internship program per se and also the Sumedhian philosophy. So I have been wanting to talk to Ashok Malhotra, who is one of the co-founders of Sumedhas. And Ashok has very kindly agreed to speak with me and to answer some of the questions that I have had. Hi Ashok, and welcome. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me and to
Thank you,
answer
Snigdha. Thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure. So Ashok, one of my basic questions was, what is the intent of the internship program?
Well, one can look at the internship program in several ways. As a starter, it's a professional development program. It aims to impart knowledge, skills, competencies to people who are interested in becoming group facilitators in Sumedhas kind of process work.
Right.
However, it's not just a professional development program. There are several people who have come for the internship who are not into either process work or not even into HR, who have come from various walks of life. Of course, a lot of people are from HR also, but there are many who are line managers. There are some who are entrepreneurs. There are some who work as social workers. There are some who are into education. There are some psychologists and consultants like you. They are homemakers. They are artists. So there are people from various walks of life. So for them, internship is not a professional development program.
Right.
For them, internship is something which enables them to be more meaningful and effective in their own chosen areas of work.
So it's interesting that you say that there are people from very diverse walks of life who actually come for this program. But I was wondering whether there is some sort of a commonality between these people who come for the internship program.
That's a very good question, and it's intimately linked with your question about the intent. And I said that their intent goes beyond being a professional development program. Now, what these people share in common are three things. One, they are deeply inquisitive about themselves and about human condition. Second, they recognize the significance of the human dimension in all endeavors. And third, they wish to make a difference. Not merely they wish to make a difference to their own lives, but they also wish to make a difference to the context to which they belong. That context could be their family, their context could be their work organization, the context could be their society at large. Whatever be the context, they wish to make a difference to the context to which they belong. So these are three things. So the intent, in a sense, of the internship program is to help facilitate a group of people who are cognizant of the significance of the human dimension, who are inquisitive about it, who are willing to question themselves and who are willing to question what they see around themselves and wish to do something about it. Not just sit as, armchair critics of what's happening, and also see what can they contribute, how can they add value to their lives and to the lives of people around them. That's the real intent.
So, it's interesting that you talk about this, because when I came for the first module last year, this was one of the questions that was in my mind, that, in terms of working with ourselves as well as the impact that we are creating with the context. So, what can people who are coming for this program expect to experience in it?
One thing they can expect is fairly intense amount of work with themselves. There's a lot of focus on the self in the entire internship journey. The basic assumption is very simple, that in any journey of transformation, it is not just the knowledge, it is not just the skills, it is not just the intention, it is not just the commitment, but also you as a person who's wanting to anchor that journey. What do you bring to the table? How do you impact the context? You are not, someone who's just there to work on something from the outside. So unless you are cognizant of your own impact, that you are a significant variable. So one of the things in terms of your own ways of looking at yourself, your own ways of looking at other people, your own beliefs and assumptions about human existence, your own beliefs and assumptions about nature of systems. So there are various kinds of modules. One module, for instance, is specifically focused on your relatedness with systems. There are inputs in terms of what's your quality of relatedness with community or collectivity at large. There are, of course, cognitive inputs. There are inputs in terms of knowledge. There are inputs in terms of skills and stuff like that. But if you were to say what is the central piece of internship, the central piece of internship is working with yourself.
So, it struck me when you were talking about the fact that the central piece is working with yourself. And, I was, going back to my own experience in the first module, and I'm thinking, what could be the kind of struggles that people might go through, when the focus is so deeply and intensely on yourself?
Well, to begin with, it is a bit disconcerting, as I'm sure you would have experienced
Absolutely.
yourself. But it's also very liberating. It's extremely liberating because all that you are learning is coming right from within you. It's not being given to you. It is not being handed over to you. It's not some knowledge or information which is being passed on to you, which you have to take in. What you are discovering is something through your own thinking, through your own reflection, through your own feelings, through your own dilemmas, through your own struggles. So these are genuinely your insights. And the more they are rooted within your experience, the more real they become. So yes, you are right. It is disconcerting, particularly for people who are wanting things to be given to them on a platter. But for people who want to discover things for themselves, by themselves, they also find it very enlivening, very enriching, and very liberating. See, Sumedhas does not give you any specific ideology. But Sumedhas provides you a space wherein you can develop your own, call it ideology, call it philosophy, call it perspective for yourself. And that's the most liberating part of the process. That you are not living by a philosophy which has been given to you by others. It's a philosophy, it's an ideology, a perspective which you have, in a sense, developed for yourself.
So, if there is no ideology that Sumedhas is really providing, it would probably be very useful for the viewers to know what is the Sumedhian philosophy on which these programs are built.
Well, that's quite a paradox, as you yourself have pointed out, that we talk of Sumedhas philosophy and we say we're not imparting any ideology at the same time. If you see the brochure that we have, you will see there are certain premises that have been listed in it. You can call them our perspective, our philosophy, our belief, but these are ours. And it's all fairness, the people who are coming should have an idea as to where are we coming from. Now, I'm not going to go into detailing each one of them, but if you see the various points which have been mentioned there, you would find that there is one commonality across. And that's the commonality, that each one of them, in some way or the other, talks of holding two seemingly opposite things at the same time. Simultaneity is a big, big word for us. Simultaneity of seemingly opposite things. Let me give a couple of examples. We believe that in order to engage with an individual, a group, an organization, or a society, you need to be simultaneously an insider and simultaneously an outsider. We often talk of 1 foot in and 1 foot out. The logic is very simple, that if you cannot experience that system from within itself, you will be acting upon it, and it will be an act of violence. On the other hand, if you are totally immersed in that system, you will be overwhelmed by its dysfunctionalities and current set of beliefs, assumptions, myths, etc. So you need to be inside it, and you simultaneously need to be outside of it. So this is very important. Similarly, we believe that human existence entails both perceiving a reality and adapting to it, adjusting to it. But the human condition also entails conceiving or imagining an alternative. Human beings don't just perceive, they also imagine and conceive. And they wish to not just adjust, but they also wish to make an impact. So while perceiving and adapting is important, so is conceiving and impacting and influencing. So to us, these are some crucial simultaneities. So simultaneity for us is a very big thing. So a large part of Sumedhian perspectives are built on this basic foundation, that seemingly opposite things in life need to be held together.
So Ashok, I was curious to know that how do this core principle of simultaneity come alive in the internship program?
Well, in different kinds of work in different ways. Even in a straightforward lab setting, there is a simultaneity of me and the other. So whenever I'm sharing or reflecting upon someone who has shared something, it is partly the person there and partly me. So we don't ever use terms like feedback. Right? We don't say I'm giving you feedback. Because in everything that I'm saying to you, I'm saying something about myself also. So it is not that it belongs to you or it belongs to me, right? Exclusively, it belongs to both of us. Similarly, when it comes to group, we believe that whatever an individual is saying is partly belongs to the individual, it partly belongs to the group. So there is a simultaneity between the individual and the group. We talk of simultaneity between the individual and the system. Right? We talk of simultaneity between thought and feeling. Right? That these are not two separate things. Like even when you come for the cognitive part of the internship process, you will see that there is a lot of emphasis, not just on understanding from here, but also understanding from here. So the simultaneity principle comes alive in different ways in different parts of the internship. In gender, for instance, the simultaneity of the masculine and the feminine is up front.
So as I was reading the brochure, there were 3 words that sort of jumped out at me. They were vibrant, resilient, and responsive. And I was wondering if you'd like to comment on what's the relevance and the significance of these words in the entire philosophy and the internship program.
All three words are very, very precious to us. A large part of human existence, in a sense, revolves around these three words. In some ways, these words also capture a very significant simultaneity of human existence, which is what we call the simultaneity of being a part and a whole. So I'm, in a sense, complete in myself, and yet in the larger scheme of things, I'm just a small part of either a family or a group or a species or anything. So human beings are simultaneously a part and a whole. So when I am with my wholeness, I wish to be vibrant. Vibrancy, how vibrant I am in my wholeness is extremely important. Simultaneously, how responsive I am to the larger context to which I belong is equally important. And this interplay between the part and whole will always create its own tensions. How resilient I am in being able to hold this tension becomes extremely important. So these three words, I'm very glad that you picked up these three words. They are very, very central to our work and to our belief about human existence.
In your experience, do you think there are some kind of people who shouldn't be attending the internship program?
Yes, people who are looking for and only looking for quick fix solutions, people who are looking to pick up a few techniques which they can go and apply. And again, the emphasis is only. It's not that the program does not give you technology or techniques, etc. But if your purpose is only to pick up some techniques, then this is not the right program for you. Unless you are willing to invest in yourself, unless you are willing to work with yourself, internship is not the right place for you. As I said earlier, the internship provides you an opportunity to develop a perspective for yourself. But developing this perspective requires tremendous amount of investment from your side. If you're not willing to make that investment, then internship is not the right program for you.
You know, as you were answering some of the questions that have been going on in my mind, and you talked about these three words, the vibrancy, resilience, and responsiveness in relation to the Sumerian philosophy. For me, I could see how, I was recalling back to the first module, and I could see how they came alive for me. And even now, as I'm going to go into the second module, I'm beginning to see how it can get, how it can be deepened or expanded. So, talking to you and understanding the perspective has been extremely helpful, and I'm sure that people who are going to watch this video, for them it'll be an eye opener as well as go some way in helping them decide to come for the internship.
Or not to come for it.
Or not to come for it. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Ashok. It was a pleasure speaking with you as always. Thank you for taking out the time to answer our questions.
I enjoyed talking to you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Snigdha.
Thanks.